So this is my first attempt at making a city worm farm. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to try to create fertilizer for our somewhat sad garden using throwaway waste that normally would go into a landfill. And this is all organic waste, so it's all vegetables and fruit peelings and so on. To do this, I have bought a 4-layer commercial worm farm with instructions that vary on YouTube from one side to the other. And what I'm going to do is, in the next few weeks, I'm going to post videos on how this is working. And my goals are don't kill the worms. Second thing is create fertilizer, both worm pea, called worm tea, and worm poo, called worm castings. And 3, generate less waste for landfills. Oh, and finally, not allow the worms into the house, I hope, and not kill the worms, as I said. So stay tuned for further videos, and meanwhile, watch what I'm doing. So this is the worm farm that I have bought. All right, let's start with that. This is what they call the sump, where it will catch the worm urine, which they like to call worm tea. And when the worm tea comes down here, it's going to be used, and I'm supposed to add 10 parts water to 1 part tea, and that will be a liquid fertilizer. So on top of the sump layer, I've put down a layer of cardboard and some soil along with some paper. And this is the bedroom, okay? And I've let them sit here for a few days. It's been very cold out, and I'm really hoping, wow, this is interesting. They've already created, I had put in here some banana peels. Banana peels are some of the favorite food of the worms. Now the next layer, what I've done now is they've rested for a few days. They've created a bit of a bed, and I'm surprised at the amount. They've already created some worm earth. I'll talk about that later in another video. Now, I've put on some peelings. Now, they say make them really small and easy. I'm experimenting. These are zucchini peelings, which they supposedly like. I put in more banana peels. This time they've been frozen and brought out to break down the cells so they're easier to eat. Put in some red pepper as well. I'll probably cut those up just a little bit more as well before doing the next. The next layer that I put on are coffee grounds. So I have espresso coffee, dark roast, quite good. And it's supposedly the worms really like that as well. So I put that layer on now, and they'll use that as kind of grit as well. So it's kind of a mixture of greens and browns, as some people say. We're going to see how this works out. And of course, the kitties like to take part in the process too, as you can see. This is what I collected them in. And now I am putting on a layer of cardboard, cut up cardboard, plain, which is used both to keep them warm, because it's 9 degrees out, and their optimum temperature is supposedly between 10 and 20. And I'm putting that on to keep them warm and also to keep in the moisture. As you can see, this is ready now to put on the next layer and the next layer. And there's even another layer and the roof. And that keeps them warm and safe and quiet. What I'll do in the next few days is add composting material to the next layer up. And supposedly what will happen is they will move from the breakfast room basically to the kitchen, and they'll start creating stuff there. We'll see how that goes. All right. And that is the beginning of my attempt at not killing worms.